Hello, everybody, and welcome to this new episode of Geothermal Student Committee podcast. Today, we are really happy to have a new guest with us. This is Dr. Ghazal Izadi, and we will talk with her and have a really good time learning from her experiences. Yeah, let's start. Please, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. First of all, I wanted to thank Geothermal Rising Student Committee for this opportunity and expose more people to geothermal in general, and also all those interviews, which is very informative, even for myself, and I'm following you. So I appreciate all these efforts.
Thank you for being here. So your career path, it's more than 10 years now, right?
Yeah. So first of all, my name is Ghazal Izadi. I am currently Vice President of Reservoir Management and Market Strategy at Geothermic Solution. Yes, prior to joining GSL, Geothermic Solution, I was working at Baker Hughes nearly around 10 years and had different and various senior technical roles in unconventional oil and gas, as well as the geothermal domains.
Yeah, that is impressive. So can you please share with us how all your journey in geothermal energy started? Because since this industry is rising, I believe that years ago, it was not so easy, or like the visibility was not as strong as now is.
Yeah, that's a very interesting background I have. So I have a diverse background. I have started my education in applied science, which was applied mathematics basically, and then navigate my career around engineering domain during my PhD program. So during my PhD, I was very fortunate to work with one of the best, Dr. Derek Ellsworth at the Center of Geomechanics, Geofluids, and Geohazards from Penn State University. And my research was in the area of computational mechanics, rock mechanics, geomechanics, as well as understanding the heat and flow transport in the fractured rock with application in geothermal and oil and gas. So the other aspect was I was very lucky to work closely with geothermal operator during my PhD thesis, Ultra-Rock Energy, which is one of the leader on the AGS, or Enhanced Geothermal System geothermal development, working mainly on the reservoir characterization and the modeling complex process coupling for the enhanced geothermal system. And I will explain a little bit later that what are the differences between different geothermal systems. But after I graduated, I have joined Baker Hughes and worked as a technical advisor for unconventional oil and gas. So my skill set was very relevant to adopt for unconventional development, as the key components is a complex well drilling or horizontal drilling, as well as reservoir stimulation. And understanding geomechanics and reservoir characterization and having knowledge from subsurface is essential for the commercial success of these projects. So I was working with a very intelligent team to develop this integrated multidisciplinary approach to predict the performance of the reservoir. By leveraging advanced physics-based modeling, as well as fast-forward numerical models for the field development. So, and also I had the privilege to work on the most complex project globally in the unconventionals, from North America to Middle East, Abu Dhabi, Saudi, Oman, Kuwait, all the way to Asia-Pac, China, Australia. So that learning curve really accelerated by working collaboratively and closely with the customer. The past 4 years, my main focus was on geothermal, fit-for-purpose technology development, integrating and linking the subsurface system to the surface system. from resource assessment to well design and drilling, all the way to power plant design and engineering. So right now in Geothermic Solution, I am more focused on one of a new approach. We call it closed loop system. We develop technology to harvest the heat or geoheat from deep down the rock, between 3 to 7 kilometers, where the rock is over 300 degrees C hot, centigrade hot. So this closed loop approach is really a study, because there are a lot of challenges around geothermal development when we don't have enough fluid, right? Or there's a lack of water in some areas, when we don't have all the ingredient for geothermal development. So closed loop system is really overcome all the barriers and limitations that we see in the conventional geothermal development. So it's very exciting, and I am very happy to share more information with you today.
Yeah, and I am noticing during your speech that you acknowledge all your team, and yeah, you have mentioned that you are lucky, and we really appreciate that from your side. But I am sure that you have put a gigantic effort from your side, and that's why you are where you are, and that is really inspiring for everybody. But I am sure also you have had like favorite parts and also more challenging moments. Can you please tell us a little bit of these favorite high points and also moments where you feel you were challenging most?
Sure. So I think the favorite part for me is that how I can, as you mentioned, right? So it's very important for me to work with the customer in the daily basis globally. So understanding the customer challenge and then provide solution and solve their problems was one of my favorite experience, because the learning is humongous, and you will face different challenges and you need to provide solution. And the other favorite part was around the teamwork, right? As I mentioned, and I said again, I was very privileged to work with top-notch multidisciplinary team of experts from around the globe and learn every day from them, and also building a solution, right? So as a team, we bring different expertise and different skill set to put all these solution blocks together to solve the problem. In terms of challenge, I like to call it opportunity, because as a technical expert, I always wanted to learn how effectively I can influence the decision makers in the business side. And that's why it's very important to go and get it out of your comfort zone and get into your growth zone mindset, right? Or it's better to say how to get comfortable with discomfort. So and that is something that I every day challenge myself to learn it, right? By trying new stuff and make myself stronger in other domains that I have not as strong as I should be.
Yeah, that is really important. So the learning aspect that will never end, and also get familiarized with not so familiar situations, like get out from your comfort zone. It's really stressful for everybody, and yeah, that is something that us like students or people that want to go for that career path have to learn as well. So I am glad you mentioned the business component, because my next question will be how you can join, or your career started from applying science. How can you, or the business area, how these two areas converge, and they are really twin sisters, or you have like to manage these both sides by your own, how that end up with you?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because as I mentioned, I had experienced various roles in my career so far, from research and development to engineering domain, and also some leadership roles. I think the first thing I experienced is leadership through influence, which comes with your strong knowledge and background that people can trust you, and it can be followed by best communication, right, with the people, and getting right mentee roles in your career, because when you start to get a mentor, you are accelerate this experience much faster instead of going to try and error to learn it, right? And when you do the mentee relationship, then you need to go back and see that how you can influence other people. Mm-hmm. So this combination, and I really encourage everybody to, if they get a chance to get mentor or be a mentee, to try that, because it's really helped to grow individually, right? Both for the mentor and mentee. And also, I was always interested trying something new. I was volunteering myself to do that. I'm still doing that, right? And that is why I believe you need to enter to the learning zone and adding new skill to your arsenal, and you create opportunity for yourself. This is what we need to believe. So we should not wait for other people to create opportunity for us. We need to have this mindset to create opportunity for ourselves.
How can you deal with this fear of failing? Because I believe that the decisions not always involve people, but also a great compound of money. So like that is huge. How you do that?
So this is obvious, right? So we always think once, twice, and say, okay, what if it failed? So I think my experience was that, okay, I always wanted to focus on to make my core competencies stronger, right? And basically play to my strengths. But also on back of my mind is that to get an upskill some of the components that it really helped me around the business decision-making process, right? And that I'm not saying that it's always successful. So this is a lot of learning, but maybe we should not call it failure, but maybe we should call it how we learn from the past experiences, and we can make ourselves stronger, especially in the area that we would like to be stronger. So yeah, we should not have a fear from failure. So we need to go full speed in the goals that we have, right? And I would like to highlight this because one of my mentors was talking to me, and there is always the approach. We all approach the goals that we pursue with one or two mindsets. The first mindset is be good mindset, where the focus is on proving that you are already have a lot of capability and ability, and you're smart. The second approach is get better mindset, where the focus is on developing your ability and learning new skills. So I always remind myself, go to and aim to be better, not good. So with having that mindset, you should not really afraid to fail, because this is the goal you have and you need to find a way to get it.
And that is really important, because sometimes we have ingrained in our belief system a speech or like ideas that are not good for us. So we think we are not smart enough. So in all the scenarios, we put ourselves in that position, and then we act accordance to that idea. So I like you modify some of the words. For example, when I mentioned challenging, no, it's not challenging. It is opportunities to be better. Yeah. Yes. And you also change failures or fail for, I don't remember. But
so these are all opportunities. So it's not failure, it's just learning, right? Learning from the past experiences and make it better next time.
Yeah, and believe in yourself. And if you will not cheer up yourself, that is not good.
Yes.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we need to make. So we define what action make us feel stronger, right? And that's how we motivate ourselves.
Yeah, especially, I don't want to be so into this topic, but it's important to mention that women in industry, we are not a majority, and also as a minority, speaking about countries, it's also a component that usually makes people feel, I don't know, like minor or not so powerful. But working with your mindset, it's an everyday journey.
And this is very interesting, right? What you mentioned, because I am a multicultural female engineer working in the male-dominated industry, oil and gas, right? And I never felt that I'm minority, right? I always wanted to be heard. I always get support from the leadership, right? To be myself, right? Not to pretend who I should be. And I see that as a female from different culture and country with a different background, it makes you stronger because you can bring different ideas onto the table. You can communicate with people much more better, right? Because you're coming from different culture and background and you already have experience. So for me, moving from Iran to US, learning the new language, entering to the new culture. So these are the lot of learnings that you can apply not only in your personal life, but also in your professional life. So I see that as a strength, not as a weakness.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And you always have been that into it, or there have been a period of your life that you were like more hesitant or need to work on that side of how that could be?
I think this is something that how you develop yourself, right, in the society. So when you start to engage with different culture, right, female versus male, right, the type of communication, the type of engagements. For example, when I was working with Europe, Middle East, Asia Pac, the culture is very different, right? Even the time of food that you eat, the time of the type of activity you have during the day or between the work, right? In some areas that I was traveling, the people was getting a nap mid of the day at the office, right? So you see all of these different stuff around you, and then you think about it. Okay, how should I communicate with people? So if the language is my second language, English is my second language. So what is the best way to express my feeling? So this is something that we develop over time, right? But we need to expose ourselves to learn it.
Exactly. So and I like that we stress the part of we need time, because sometimes, especially for young people that are new in a new country, in a new environment, it's easy just to have the idea of giving up because, okay, my accent is different, my ideas are different, so I will not keep trying. But no, that is not the point.
Yes, that's true.
I am sure that there are many people out there that are feeling connected with our talk, because we have to give ourselves time and be brave to adapt ourselves, willing to have cultural shocks and learn from those moments.
And I think that you mentioned about the accent, right? Because there is a lot of words that I pronounce it in the different way, right?
Yeah, me as well. I am from Ecuador, and oh my God, there was a lot of times that people do not understand what I am saying.
Yeah, and then this was funny because I usually have a good sense of humor, right? And when people start to correct me when I'm saying something in the wrong way, I said, "Are you sure?" So you can laugh at it, and you don't take it personal, right? So we need to be open. So when somebody wants to give us some critical point of view or correct us in different way, it's a language or it's a pronunciation, so we should take it easy. So we should not say, oh, I am different, or I'm from different countries, so this is a humiliation. No, take it as a fun and, and laugh at it and make a joke out of it.
Yeah, this is a really good point. Have a good sense of humor. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, now I would like to come back a little bit and talk about technologies, because you mentioned that now the type of systems that you are working on in terms of technology have a lot of points to be overcome, and the systems are different than the regular ones, and the technology needs to be adapted to these kind of systems. Can you give us an idea about how will be in the future? What is your idea about the technology in the future will be like, or the challenges that need to be addressed?
Yeah, so I think one of the discussion today is that why we are moving to our energy transition, which in my opinion, we already have moved to energy transition. It's more around energy security. And then the discussion is around why renewables instead of fossil fuel. So I would like to a little bit talk about that part and then move toward the geothermal. So in my opinion, renewable energy provides reliable power supply, right? And fuel diversification. So we can use renewable energy sources to produce electricity and heat with fewer environmental impacts. It's very important. And it's possible to use these resources to emit carbon dioxide or CO2 free energy system. And that is important for our climate change. So the goal is to replace fossil fuel with 24/7 always on renewable energy. So the challenge is what are the differences between this renewable system and how to get it work. So when you look at wind, solar, and geothermal, there are three types of energies that are all ideal for preserving the resources and minimizing pollution. However, there are distinct differences between them. So the problem with using wind, as you know, it is because of it's very geographic dependent. We don't have the wind blowing the same everywhere. And the solar panels absorb the sun rays and then convert it to heat or electricity, but it's not 24/7. On the other hand, geothermal energy is highly reliable and available. And the heat inside the earth below our feet is not limited in terms of availability. And since we are not depleting the subsurface, so you can produce energy 24/7. So I think this is very important. And the main difference between geothermal energy and fossil fuel and other resource of energy is the sustainability. However, there are, even we know that geothermal energy is much better for the environment, but fossil fuel is still preferred energy source. And the main reason behind that is the cost. So let's talk about geothermal and then we navigate that through the technology. So to access geothermal energy, we need three elements: heat, water, and permeable rock. So the water flows through the gaps in the hot permeable rock, transferring the heat from the deep underground to the surface. And that is geothermal energy. So there are different ways to produce energy from geothermal. So when we have access to the shallow, heat, fluid, and permeable rock, so you are calling conventional technology, that you can get the fluid, hot fluid at the surface much easier and less costly. But you don't have those conditions everywhere. So it's very location restricted. So when one or two elements is missing, so then we need to bring different approaches. That's why we bring enhanced geothermal system to create permeability through stimulation, to create fractures or connect the fractures, or create new fractures and open them to have a better flow path for the hot water back to the wellbore. The other approach, the other process that's known as a closed loop system, that these days I'm working on that, it's not relying on any other components like water or permeability. You just need to have heat. So you use the natural or geoheat of the earth to create electricity or heat. So how does closed loop system work? So what is important by comparing this new system is that how much heat we can get at the surface, right? How we can improve the efficiency. So today, at Geothermic Solution, we think that we need to target deep rock, hot rock, when we are talking about above 300 degrees C and a deeper section of the earth between 3 to 7 kilometers. How we do it? So there is a lot of technology have been developed around drilling, right? With the drilling development and learning from oil and gas, there are ready solution in the market to deploy. We need to adapt it for higher temperature, absolutely. But also we are developing new technology and engineering methods to tap into this limitless heat. And this is all around new material science, new manufacturing, new engineering of the system, both the underground and the surface. And also integrate with the knowledge of the formation, so subsurface assessment. So that is how we look at the whole system, and that is what it's really differentiator in order to increase the thermal conductivity by bringing these new technologies and material science into the geothermal, which is very new. Nobody has done it, but this is what I really believe that it can change the commercial viability of the geothermal in the future and make it a scale up basically commercially.
Okay, so in the closed loop systems, how are the pre-feasibility studies to determine that there is a potential hot rock out there without having fractures and water out there? I am thinking that then the fluid that will transmit this heat, it's a chemical component, or it's human created, or how can you explain a little bit about these systems?
Yeah, so first of all, we need to target deeper. So right now you see that most of the geothermal wells is not more than 200 degrees C. Right, so that is the limit. So we are talking about hotter and deeper rock, and in a lot of cases these rocks are dry, right? And we may or may not have the good permeability and fracture system. So what we believe is that reaching to those targets with this new approach and the technology that we bring to the market on the drilling side, to drill to that depth, and then using different material instead of cement, which they are more thermal conductive, and enhancing the near wellbore with a thermal conductive material into the fractures to capture the heat and bring it to the wellbore. So, and then you don't have the fluid to interact with your rock matrix because it's an isolated tube in tube, and you are not going to face all the production challenges like corrosion scaling that you have in the open loop system. So you are really decreasing the risk. And in terms of understanding the resource, when you talked about the feasibility or pre-feasibility phase, we don't need to go for 3 components. We just need to find the heat.
Oh,
so that is how we can reduce the time of exploration, reduce the cost, because our goal is heat.
Okay.
So we instead of having 2 wells as an injection and production to communicate and carry the fluid from the injection well to the production, we have a single very large wellbore that it can inject and produce the hot water in the same wellbore.
Okay, so in that sense, you can drill worldwide, anywhere, but deep.
Exactly. So then you are not restricted to the location. Wherever you have heat, you can use your heat harvester technology and then produce heat from the hot rock.
That idea is really exciting. In my group, we only have one project of geothermal energy, and is in a volcanic setting. And we only have one well, exploration well, but they are projecting to drill 7 more because they don't have a clear idea how is the volume of the reservoir. But having the potential solution of be able to drill anywhere, wow, that is really awesome. And like if we are creative, or like we can like dream about putting a time, or how many years do you think this technology research will take for having this come true?
We are not in the research anymore, right? We have this technology to deploy. We need to make it commercially successful. So we are going to drill these wells now, right? And the goal, and what I'm excited about, is the flexible approach, right? And fastest way to go to market. So if we want to make sure that geothermal is a large part of the energy mix, instead of thinking about 1 to 100 wells per year, we need to think about 1,000 to 10,000 well drilling per year. So that is my focus, is that how we can drill more wells and access to the heat beneath our feet with the right approach. So those technologies today is ready to deploy and test it, right? So we are in the phase that we are testing different formation and different location in the world to deploy this technology, and make sure that we can scale it up faster than other alternative solution in the market.
Okay, and in how many countries have this technology been tested?
We didn't test that yet, so we just in the pre-feasibility phase, but I think we are going. I mean, the Ring of Fire area is our favorite part, right? They are a low-hanging fruit. That there's a lot of information and knowledge already captured, so we probably try to move to develop in those areas first, and then accelerate our learning, and then move toward the more challenging areas that there are less information from the deep rock, basically.
Congratulations. I'm sure everything will be successfully done, and you and your team will be the pivotal team that will overcome this situation.
Thank you.
Okay, jumping again to the leadership part of your role. So you have started a new position as a vice president of Geothermic Solution. I think it's 3 months ago, or probably 5 months ago?
No, 2 months.
Okay, 2 months. And this position involved a lot of leadership and more skill sets. Can you please tell us some advices that you can tell people for having these positions in the future, or more encouragement to go for these leadership positions? Vice president, it's a dream position, I guess.
Thank you, Domenica. So I think, I'm still relying a lot on my technical background to make decision, right? But also I need to make sure that I rely to a strong team, right? So in order to make everything work. So In Geothermic Solution, we have a lot of experts in different domains, from drilling, engineer, completion, all the way to the power plant design, subsurface. So we are working as a team, right? And then at the end of the day, we need to make the best decision. So for me, it's very interesting to use your technical information to make a right decision, business-wise. So that is what I'm focusing at the moment in this role, to make sure that our projects are going on time and budget. We are selecting the right resources to deploy the technology at the earliest stage, how we want to grow the business and what are our targets, and then how we are influencing not only the geothermal developer, but public, governments, right? So we want to make sure that our voice is heard and we have a differentiator solution for generating electricity and heat as a renewable compared to other renewable resources, right? When I'm talking about other renewables, I'm talking about wind, solar, hydropower. I mean, nuclear is not part of the renewable, but again, we are competing between multiple energy sources. So that is the focus, is to just make sure that we are showing and proving that the technology can make it economical and viable to compare to other resources.
Okay, and these goals from your company are aligned also with the goal of 2050 of zero net carbon? Because,
yeah,
for example, there is another gas companies that they have a goal that decreasing 50% of carbon production by 2030. So by 2050, they have no carbon producing. But we are 8 years for 2030, and that is a bit of a challenge for them. Do you have some planification like that, or it's fine if you cannot answer?
No, I think with mandated renewable energy targets, right, and this net zero campaign, a commitment by many countries to decarbonize their economies by 2050 is obvious, and that's why the interest in geothermal energy is growing rapidly, right? And that's not only from this campaign, but also we see the energy security, because geopolitical issues, right? Dependency on gas from other countries, right, and might not be available. So why we are not going to focus on geothermal when we can have it everywhere? So, and I see from a lot of major oil and gas companies like Total, Shell, Chevron, and all of these major leaders in oil and gas production, they have their new energy system section. And they are looking at the different solutions to decarbonize their system, either on the operation or accessing to these new frontiers. This is geothermal, hydrogen is another one, carbon capture sequestration. So there is a lot of topics and areas that a lot of oil and gas companies are focusing today. And with that, I'm sure that the technology is going to develop, and the way that people are thinking in the next few years is really change this scenery a lot. And yeah, that helps us to move toward that net zero goal. Yeah.
So not only the renewable energy companies are competitors, but also gas and oil industries are your competitors as well, because the transition to geothermal has been seen in gas and oil industries, as you mentioned, right? That is really difficult. I'm guessing that the number of competitors in this industry is huge. Is it right?
I am not agree with that. I would say that oil and gas will be enabler. And why I'm saying that, because the reason that geothermal is expected to play an important role in the future is that we are getting better and better at doing this. So we are drilling geothermal wells with increasing efficiency and allowing more energy to be captured in each plant. by what the technology have been developed in the oil and gas sector, right? And then there is a lot of skills that could be adopted from oil and gas to geothermal. So to get a geothermal plant up and running, there are different skill set and expertise are needed for each phase of geothermal development. And most importantly, the experiences in industries other than geothermal can be applied to geothermal development. And when we are talking about oil and gas engineers, from geoscientists, environmental scientists, geologists, geophysicists, hydrologists, geomechanics, geochemists, all of these experts could work in this project and these problems, from the resource assessment of the geothermal resource, selecting the site to drill, and then the engineers come into place from the mechanical, electrical, civil engineer, environmental engineer, from drilling of the geothermal wells to plan design, all the way through operation. So if you look at the how close these two businesses are and how we can adopt and select the workforce and talents between these two industries, it's very obvious that oil and gas will be enabler, because a lot of experience that they have, and they already deployed a lot of technology that could unlock the geothermal development.
Yeah, that's true. The diversity in geothermal is very huge, and I will take your idea of gas industry, oil and gas industry, are not competitors, but most enablers of this industry, totally. Thank you so much for this time. I have learned a lot. And just the last question, please, can you give advices for students that are not sure about picking geothermal as a career path? How can we encourage them to pursue their dreams and join geothermal industry?
Yeah, as we discussed, right? So there is a various domain that come together to make geothermal running, the geothermal plant running. So geothermal is a growing clean energy industry, and it needs a smart workforce, which train in the various domains. So I can say passionately that the future of geothermal is really bright, and please join us, as geothermal is one of our most stable renewable energy resources. So I am excited.
Yeah, me too. I started thinking about geothermal when I was 20 years old. So that's why I chose geology. And then I did my master's, and now I am pursuing how can I join, but that's why I am in the Geothermal Rising Student Committee, and let's see how the future goes. And thank you so much for this time.
That's excellent. You are already there.
Thank you so much. Having you as an inspiration really helps.
Thank you.
Having
Dominica, I really appreciate this time, and in today's Friday, and at this time of the day. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, you too. And thank you everybody who is listening to us, and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Have a good day. Bye.